All right, guys. Welcome to the Sim Standard Podcast. This is episode 246, I believe. As I watch Tom Brady get sacked, a rare sack on Tom Brady by the Giants. Wish there was a better game on tonight, guys, but I'm not going to disrespect Giant fans or Patriot fans. But who knows? Maybe it'll turn out to be, a competitive contest. But anyway, man, we want to say what's up to everybody. We missed the show last week, but we are back this week. Some of you guys would know that I went out of town, so I was unable to get the show done last week. But we're back in full effect tonight, and we will be running through 10 o'clock, depending on how long it takes us to get through it. If we stop before then, we will. If not, we will run through 10 o'clock. And as you can see, man, in the title, we don't have a lot really to talk about. You know, I'm going to try to rely on some of you guys as far as your community topics. I got a few return, results here on Twitter, but we'll try to catch them if we can. But mostly we'll just wing it, man. And, I hadn't told this to Smitty, but I think maybe even going forward, man, we might even try a different approach in terms of content. Like maybe, we'll do it like a podcast format where we just come on and just start talking. Like whatever comes up in the chat, because to be honest, week to week is not a lot going on in gaming, and I feel like we're repeating some of these same topics over and over and over. But we'll see. We'll try to give you guys as much as we can.
I will say this: there is a lot in gaming. It's just that they're games that we don't necessarily play,
right,
or talk about. So that's
Yeah,
that's why you probably don't hear from us about everything. But
I
agree with that.
Makes it a lot more difficult when we definitely don't talk about, a lot of the things that are out there. I see Des says, y'all talk about the PS5 yet. No, we haven't. And, we'll jump into that, and I don't really have a ton of information on it, but I guess I will give my opinion on what I'm hoping from it. I don't know this to be true, but I'm willing to bet Smitty probably knows more on it than I do, as far as the PS5. But yeah, we'll try to dive into that a little bit, and then we'll talk about the Madden update and kind of rehash the state of Madden right now and things like that. But before we get started, not a lot for me to say, but I will at least allow Smitty the opportunity to talk about his Lions. They're doing a lot better than my Steelers. So how was your week, Smitty, man, and how you currently feeling about the Detroit Lions right at the moment?
I mean, week was good, and I mean, we had a bye week, so
that's right.
we had a chance to. I mean, the vibe around Detroit is, as far as right now, from a decent amount of people, is positive, because of how things went with the Chiefs game. Even though we lost it,
but close game
still, because, and that's the whole thing, people were expecting an annihilation. So it's like, for us to come away with the win, not the win, excuse me, to come close to winning like that. And the thing is, we were missing key guys. I mean, for our secondary to do the job that they did, and we didn't have Quandre Diggs, we didn't have Darius Slay. We lost Diggs in the first quarter. We lost Hawkinson. I think that was like late in the third. And to look at how we were playing, like they were playing very resilient football. So that's with the mistakes. And I talked to some people. I was at the barbershop, had barbershop chat, about it, and they're like, "Oh man, but Patricia didn't do this," and I'm just like, "Well, hold on a sec. If Galladay, if that third quarter catch and the touchdown catch, basically, when it was a touchdown, it was. If they counted that touchdown, we already won the game. If what's his name didn't try to extend, if Kerryon didn't try to extend and just kept the ball and never put it down like he did in that first goal line situation, who knows? We could have punched that in. Now you're talking about what? We'd be up 13, 14 points? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just that alone, just those two instances alone, you're talking about a whole different outcome. So to say that the you know for some guys to try and downplay the Lions didn't really do that. The Lions, oh man, but they should have been out coached and they should have been. It's like, yeah, but at the same time, there were some situations where number one, the Galladay catch should have been a catch. It should have been a catch. He had control of the ball. That should have been a touchdown. And then you're talking about the situation with what's his name going down or putting the ball down on the field, and then dudes didn't know. People honestly, they were looking around thinking that like the play was dead. You know what I'm saying? So, and it looked as if the play was dead. So nothing indicated, hey, go get him. Like, so that's once again, that's something that at the end of the day, in the midst of that, you still ended up taking the lead for the game and then ended up losing it in the final 2 minutes. So it's kind of like that's a lot to overcome in the middle of the game, and then that's what happened. But we got we got Green Bay in Green Bay on Monday Night Football. That's gonna be tough.
Oh yeah.
So that's gonna be a mean challenge. So we will look forward to. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to see how these guys are gonna come back. What's the pace gonna be? How are they gonna come out? Are they gonna come out there with a fire in their gut and come with some intensity? Plus, are we going to see Darius Slay in action? That's the other thing I don't know. I haven't seen anything yet, so we'll have to see what happens. Yeah, yeah, exactly. DSK, DVE, you know it. But we'll see what happens. But on the Steelers side though, that Mason Rudolph, and my man Dez just said it. That hit, when I saw that, I felt bad for Sim immediately.
Yeah, it was crazy, man.
That was, man. But I'll throw it to you, bro. That hit was, oh my gosh. I mean, and it was a legit hit. So it's not like,
yeah,
it was
man,
a legit hit.
Steelers fans out there, like y'all know, I'm a football guy first. I'm a realist first. That man, all that man trying to, what I'm saying, say Earl Thomas is dirty and all. Like, I've seen people saying that. I'm like, y'all need to chill, man. I mean, that was a clean hit. Yeah, okay. To the rule of the letter, did he launch slightly? But it still wasn't the crown of the helmet. I mean, to me, being a guy who's played on the defense as well, it's hard to even, get your helmet out of the way. You know what I'm saying? I think it was a legit hit. I don't think it was dirty. It's just unfortunate, but it was nasty. I mean, to see him frozen like that, and what got me is when some of the teammates went over there, and like when Juju went over there, and he like fell out. Like he literally looked like he like got sick. And I think what probably happened, when I thought about it more, he was knocked out clearly, but his eyes were probably open. And, like I said on the Steelers podcast, I don't know if many people have seen like a lifeless body and their eyes open. It's a freakish looking thing. And I think that's probably what scared them the most, like the players, because the players was really shaken up. But yeah, man. But outside of that, and I'll dive into the Steelers here in just a moment. This game, I hope y'all are watching this game. I kind of poo-pooed the game, but it's defensive so far. Daniel Jones throws a tipped interception, which I hate those situations, and sometimes it ain't always the quarterback's fault. And then Tom Brady throws a deep interception going downfield. The Jackrabbit gets it. For you football fans, y'all should know who I'm talking about when I say Jackrabbit. Picks it off, brings it back to the 50, and now here are the Giants again driving on what? They're about 3rd and 5 now. So this is a very interesting game so far. I didn't think the Giants had a chance, but we'll see. We'll see how the night goes on. But yeah, man, really quick. Yeah, Steelers are in a pinch, but I will say this, Steelers fans, they haven't quit. And at this point, my expectations are out the window. I have zero expectations. I'm interested in just watching the young team develop and see who becomes what. And there you have it. And if some miracle happens and they get hot and maybe Duck Hodges takes over the reins this week and gets a win, and maybe after the bye Rudolph comes back, who knows? But I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, because a lot of people are still saying, Smitty, that's all right. We still can go 10-6, and we can. Man, come on, man. It's hard to say that when you 1-4.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
In the NFL, yeah,
it's hard to say that. I mean, can we really say they only gonna lose 2 more games after being 1-4? I don't know about that, because you got to go on some mean stretches. Like, you got to go on some streaks. And the funny thing is, Smitty, though, like you said with the Detroit game, because I watched that game when y'all played them, when y'all played the Kansas City. It's like all of these games, with the exception of the Patriot game, week 1, they've been right in. The Steelers, and I'm not saying that just as a fan, but they legitimately had a chance to win the game against Seattle. Legitimately had chances to win the game against San Francisco, and clearly had chances to win against the Ravens if you watch that game. Multiple chances. Even Coach Tomlin, putting his what's on the line, showing that he had a pair, and was like, you know what, we're going to defer. We're going to give them the ball first in overtime. Defense gets to stop. And then here comes Juju, he catches that ball right there. He gets to about the 47-yard line if he doesn't fumble, and they need about 15 yards for a field goal. It might have happened to win the game, but he fumbles, and the rest is history. So it's interesting, man, being a fan, watching it, because, again, when you lose your starting quarterback, I don't care if people like or hate Ben Roethlisberger, when you lose your franchise guy, things change. It's just that simple. And there's no more Antonio Brown to help Juju. It's, I knew they were going to be different, but it is what it is, man. I'm going to continue to watch. If we end up 1-15, I will still be a fan. Don't matter to me. But at this point, I'm just looking to see who's going to turn out to be great this year, and maybe we could do something next year. But enough with the Steeler talk, man. I guess we could get into this Madden update. And I think the way I want to take the approach, Smitty, is kind of, I'll throw it to you first, but just to, kind of give us a guideline of where I'm going with mine. I'll probably talk along the lines of what I think these updates mean to the progression of the game, like my thoughts on that now that we've seen about 3 updates. Not so much as far as everything that was in the patch. I'll talk a little bit about the franchise stuff, but that's kind of how I want to approach it. It's kind of talk about what I think this means and how I feel about the way they're handling the updates. But what are your thoughts, man? If you've had any chance to play the game since the updates, what are some of the things that stand out to you, whether that's good or bad?
What I would say is, like, what has stood out to me the most is that they're paying attention to excuse me. They gave some attention to the franchise mode, which is good. Giving more updates to the franchise story, challenges, things like that. Now, I got to shout out Deuce Douglas on this, because I've not went nearly as deep as he did with the experimentation. But he experimented and did a 5-year, simulation, basically, to see how things watch that went.
Video too.
Yeah, and it basically, it is improved. So basically, to make it short, it's improved with the scenarios. There were more scenarios based upon how his team was performing, because he said he only had 1 losing season out of the 5 seasons he went through. The problem, though, is that, and see, I don't know if it's kind of a gaming culture kind of thing, or that EA is just trying to be safe. But it was like you have a wide receiver that's disgruntled, and you go out there and win the next week, and all of a sudden he's happy. Or you go into the off season and you have a player that's about to retire. So, because he's going to retire, all right, guys, let's step it up one more time for so and so. And it's like everybody all of a sudden it just gets overpowered and juiced. It shouldn't necessarily be like that. And I do agree with him in that regard, because it's like, and the reason why I say the gaming culture point is because ultimately people want to win. Okay? Nobody wants to deal with adversity. Nobody wants to lose. Like what Sim and I talked about at the, what was it, 2 weeks into the season, you saw Miami completely demoralized. You had players injured left and right. You had the whole AB situation happen. It's like, if you have all these wild happenings and this wild unpredictability that can happen during the course of a season, and they give that kind of probability for that kind of stuff to happen, like player morality can just be completely demoralized or whatever. And that's the thing. He purposely was trying to sabotage his team. He was purposely doing negative things toward his team, and they still came out with positive outcomes. It's like, are they trying to make it too PC, or is it just more of, hey, we added more scenarios, but they don't necessarily act right? And that's kind of the problem that I have with it, because even from what he's saying, it just kind of makes it feel like they're just in there to get by. And it's not truly impacting the game. It's not truly the scenarios are not truly impacting your team. You know what I'm saying? Like, players are going to drop passes, or because this wide receiver feels a certain way, he's not going to go hard. He's going to act like he's going to his speed rating could be 80. His speed rating could be a 92. Instead, his speed for the game will be at, I don't know, like an 85 or an 82. Dang, why is he running so slow? Because he's demoralized. He doesn't care to play, but he's playing because he has a job to do. He's trying to collect a check. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing going on in game right now excuse me, to make me, the end user, have to, okay, I have to make this change. I have to do this. I tried to negotiate with my wide receiver. He still has beef. He's acting crazy. He's pulling an AB right now. Okay, right. You know what? Fine. I'm just going to bench this dude, or I'm going to cut him, and I'm going to get this player over here. You see what I'm saying? Oh, but you'll take this huge hit against your salary if you do this and the third. You know what? It'll be worth
money. Yeah.
I'd rather, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what? I'd rather do that than to have somebody running at 82 speed wide receiver for the rest of the season just because. Just because, oh, but he got this catch rating. No, bump that. I'd rather use this guy that's on my practice squad and put him out there, because at least he can go. He may not be as good, but he can go. And then you got the compliment to boot, because, like, me and Sim preach on it all the time. Look, the gameplay is the vine. Okay? The gameplay is the vine. The branches are the franchise mode and everything else, these abilities and all that. If the gameplay is not on point, if the vine is not attached to the branch is going to break off, wither, and die. That's the problem. Franchise mode is a branch out there by itself right now. That sucker's going to wither and die quick. It's going to become placebo. That's why you got guys like T-Dog and everything on PC doing progression tools and stuff like that, which huge shout out to him. Huge shout out to Sabo and all them guys. Shout out to those guys, because I play Madden on PC, and the gameplay with their updates and stuff that they've done, phenomenal. Their mods, phenomenal gameplay. to me. All Madden does not feel like I'm being cheated at all. It feels like freaking football. And by the way, just to say real quick, they even have a play editor that's kind of somebody created a play editor that's kind of like in a beta phase right now. Like so you can legitimately make plays and be able to put them in game. So I don't know how far that's the well is gonna go with that, but you know what I'm saying? That's crazy right there. So, anyways, but regarding this game though, like that's the problem. Is that yes, do I appreciate the updates? Yes. Do I appreciate them tinkering with the gameplay and like thinking from a console standpoint or just in general? Just in general with the gameplay. They're steadily working on they're steadily working on the passing, on the passing and the leading play of wide receivers and things like that, depending upon the routes. Like, do I appreciate all of it? Yes, I do. Do I appreciate them working on catch rulings and working, and addressing abilities and working on animations and working on, the secondary, in terms of how they read and how they cover and how quickly them reacting a bit quicker and things like that. Yes, I appreciate all of it. The game does feel better with it. And once again, I got to shout out my man Neo for his sliders because I use those when I play the console game. Shout out to him with that, and to that franchise guy with his rosters and everything. Him and the guys he worked with, they did their thing with it. But the problem here is that even with all that done, it's not going to override the issues that are going on in this game here. You know what I'm saying? And see, this was something I was saying to Sim before the show. Now, what sucks is that on PC, yes, they do these mods and stuff to the game, right? Make the game feel better, but you can't take that online. You see what I'm saying? You can't play online head-to-head with it. You can't play MUT squads, or you can't play in an online franchise with those mods. It's not possible. So you have to basically play the game at default, and then when you see all this stuff happen that's not right, you're like, man, oh, this is garbage. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or you're gonna be like, man, this is whack. Like, what's going on? I was better off playing offline with these mods instead. So it's like you need like we need to see the gameplay translate the way it needs to out the gate. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, yeah, I know some people probably say, man, they need to hire those guys. But see, the issue that I somewhat have with that is that if those guys were hired in, what in terms of the game are we going to see their imprint on? And what I mean by that is, you have Swami that's in there right now. As much, I mean, this dude Sim can attest to it as well. When it comes to football, this dude is overkill with football knowledge. How things should be, who's good with this, who's that, and everything else. And it's like, well, even when it comes to salaries and everything else, and it's like, what's in this game right now that we can honestly say, Swami, his hand is all over this? I could tell by the way this functions. There's nothing that I could say that he's made that kind of impact on with this game. And even when you look at a guy like Deuce Douglas, he was offered a job. I think when Rex was there, if he were to be there in the studio, what would have happened to franchise mode? Would we have seen it leap and bound all of a sudden? You see what I'm saying? Or if you were to bring a guy like Sabo or T-Dog in regards to gameplay functionality, in regards of T-Dog with his progression stuff, would franchise mode actually become, like will the game really step up like that, and will you be able to tell that those guys made a drastic impact to the game? You see what I mean? And like that's the kind of stuff that's questionable, because you saw it with NBA 2K. My League, that's a community guy's idea. They hire him in, and bam, you get My League. You have Mike Stoffer or whatever. He's community guy, was on OS doing ratings and everything. Gets hired in, now he rates the game every year. You got freaking Czar and OG. They're responsible for the offense and the defensive play, the A system. That's Scott O'Gallagher's idea. That's all, like, their hands, they're immersed in this game. These are all community guys that are, they play integral roles regarding various aspects of basketball game legitimacy in this game, in that game. And you see the work clearly there. My thing is, if you took guys like that we look at their ideas and their works, and we give them very high praise and accord, would they be able to walk into an EA studio and say, hey, this how it needs to be, and will we see that happen? You see what I mean? And I mean, look, we've had those discussions in the past. I mean, I'm kind of going off subject, but it's kind of in the relation to this, because when we talk about these games, being the game updates and what it needs and what it doesn't have, and tweaking and refining and things like that, we talk about, can they do this to the zone play? Can they tweak this with man defense? Can they refine this kind of interaction? Can they refine how this is? And it's like, when you look at a guy like Sabo and what he's able to do, could you have somebody like that come in and refine the game so that way, like I said, my man's got all Madden default, no slider sets, and he's got that game rolling. I mean, yeah, do you see some all Madden hijinks? Yeah, every here and there. But I mean, I played several games on it and I only had one hiccup. That was like some all Madden stuff. Otherwise, this dude got the game rolling. And I don't understand how that is. So it's like, for him to be able to do something like that, and other people like, because there's other people that do mods too, but for them to have it rolling, it's like, well, how about being able to get this game to roll like that? And the issue, and I'll throw it to Sim here. The problem here is that the problem here that I have with it all is that when you're looking at this game, and we look at it from potential, Sim and I, Azura, others, we see the potential of that it can have. Heck, Sim playing FIFA, and you look at what that game has: player movement, player interactivity, ball physics, player physics, all that tangibility. And then you look at Madden, and it's like, how come we can't get that? Or how come we get it in small instances, but we can't get it on the entire, like, what would it take to get that on the entire whole? Man defense, zone defense, things like that. We see how it works in the game, but it's like, how can we get it to be more authentic in terms of what happens in the game? Like, what needs to be done to do that? I know we got new consoles coming next holiday season, and people are looking for that to be the answer. Oh, well, maybe they go to another console. We've been saying that for 2 console gens now. You know what I'm saying? And still, that's not necessarily the answer. We don't know if moving to another generation is going to automatically mean, oh, yeah, they got it now. They're definitely going to have it. We don't know that. We don't know that at all. And as we've said in the past, it takes these devs at least 4, maybe 5 years to get a full, like, a legit grip on the generation, of understanding how to get games, of making games adequate on that generation, on that platform. So what has been said, or what is going to be said or done to truly be able to say, hey, on this platform, now they'll be able to get it? We don't know, man. And that's the part that sucks. So it's like we got to wait and see, once again, what happens. I mean, in the meantime, we're going to keep chugging along and giving our feedback and making our points. But it's like, We need to see this game jump up and without the updates and everything like this happening, where the game comes out and it's like they're missing legit parts of the game. Because remember, as I've made the point before, the cost of production and all that stuff has only risen over all these years. But the time frame in which these companies are able to put these games out have not. Because think about it. I'm very confident. The very first Grand Theft Auto that came out back then, I am extremely confident. It didn't take them 6, 7, 8 years to make that. You know what I'm saying? For those of y'all that remember, the very first GTA that came out, that sucker was an overhead view game. Graphically, it was not hitting like that at all whatsoever. So it's like, I highly doubt that game took 6, 7 years to be made. In comparison to the games we see now, that you got Red Dead taking 7, 8, 9 years to make, GTA taking 5, 6 years to make. You see what I'm saying? To make one title that many years. While Madden and 2K and all that stuff, they're all of them are heavily reliant on 8 months. And they still got to drop a game that's hitting, no matter what. That's dang near impossible to do, especially with like I said, these other games. Look how much time it takes for them to make a hit. What if GTA had to come out every 2, 3 years? Every 2.5, 3 years max, you got to drop another game. It'd be impossible. GTA, Red Dead, those games look terrible. Because those games, people complain about the buggy stuff now. Yeah, right, man. It'd be a complete cesspool, a total cluster if that was the case. So no, man. I'm telling you, I would like to see Madden get on the tip like how Rainbow Six is, and just have a pass. Just have a year one, like you can get the game and it's gonna have base features and all that stuff, your modes and everything, but do a pass that's gonna give you, like some additional content, and it's gonna give you some more stuff over time. But you just have a base game and you just keep building on it. And every 2, maybe 3 years, you get a brand new game where they completely we did this big old revamp and now we got this, that, and the third. But it takes time. So, like, I'd rather it be something like that be done instead of it just, they got to come with a whole brand new project, features and all that stuff, and it's got to be done in 1 year. Like, to me, that's not nearly enough time to adequately make a title of that caliber. So, I'll throw it to you, Sim.
Yeah, man. It's one of those things, and I could really sum it up really quick, man. I'm cool with the patches as far as seeing the things that they're doing with it, like especially, seeing how they're trying to implement franchise things and, add more depth to the game as they go along. And I'm still waiting for that 5th year option that they talked about. I don't think that's there yet. But the issue is, I'm kind of conflicted with patches too, because if you notice, man, over the last year, I want to say it started last year. It might have started in 18, but I think it was Madden 19 where we started seeing patches every month. And it's almost to the point like now it's like clockwork. It's pretty much that first Thursday of the month. Here's another patch. Here's another patch. And I'm like, it kind of makes you feel like, how many things are you just relaxing on and you'll catch it during the patch? It makes me look at it from a marketing and a corporate standpoint. These things are pre-planned. Think about it. The devs have even said, these patches are already in the works and they're ready to go and blah, blah, blah. So how far out have they decided we'll get that in this patch? We're going to introduce this in that patch. Then we're going to introduce that in the next patch. And it's kind of like it allows you to have a very lackadaisical dev cycle. And again, when I speak, it's more of, I'm speaking towards the powers that be. Y'all should know that by now. And anybody who hears this that's new, this is beyond the dev level. Most of what you're going to always hear me say at this point, it has nothing to do with the developers. The developers, I look at them as far as the things that they have in the game, the things that's working and running right now. I got to place blame on them for the bugs and, efficiency and those type of things. But anytime I'm talking about the status of the game, progression, blah, 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 I'm talking about the corporate people because we already know how things work down there. But it makes me think about all those things, Smitty. Like, is it a decision well in advance? Well, this is what you're going to be able to release with, and then, we're going to do this patch in September, and then we're going to do October, then November we'll have one, then we'll do December, and by golly, we're going to keep doing it until the Super Bowl, and after that, we're done. It almost makes me feel like that. I don't know this to be true, and like I said, guys, there's new people. Let's just say there's supposed to be a new vision from corporate. This is what I've been told. Some of the things that I'm seeing, I can't go into much detail, but I will say some of the things that I'm seeing makes me believe it's possible that is the case, but we're still stuck in the same rut as far as Madden. It's things to me aren't going to change much until the powers that be do what has to be done in order for this game to get to a level where it needs to be. It's going to have to come a time where they have to say, okay, this cycle is all about reintroducing or introducing brand new code, brand new way of doing this, brand new way of doing that, because it's clear and obvious to me at this point that there's but so much that they can build on from this core system. They can try to implement things, but it's not going to work fully the way we want it to work because of the way the core is built. And this is from years ago. Again, this ain't got nothing even to do with people like Rex and Clint, even though Rex is gone now. It ain't even got nothing to do with those guys. I'm talking from Madden 06. That's where it all stems from. All of that stuff that they had in place on PS2 didn't come over to the 360. All of that depth and franchise and even things like they once had like Tony Bruno, all that kind of stuff never came over. Everything that what's his name, Soft Drink Sports showed about why he thinks Madden 08 was his favorite, none of that came over to the 360. They have not gone back to reintroduce any of those old systems and codes. We are stuck with the code that was introduced on Madden 06 on the 360. And it's been augmented since then, but for the most part, that's the groundwork of what we're seeing now. And what you don't know, which I don't think this is something that I can't say, but they have been slowly trying to remove code bases in certain areas. I don't know if they're ever going to come out and say what, and I won't do that either, but they've been slowly but surely trying to remove a lot of these things. But it's going to take too long, man, because I think the people at the top are afraid to just go for it. You know what I mean? They got to go for it. And I'm going to go ahead and move into kind of the next topic here, merge these two together, just kind of comment to what Dez is saying. This is what I look at as far as PS5. Smitty already said that we've seen this situation before. We were saying that for 2 generations now. And not only just 2 generations, 2 engines. Remember when they introduced, not the physics engine, which is Infinity. Which one is it? Yeah, the physics is an Infinity engine. But remember when they introduced Ignite? And oh yeah, Ignite was supposed to be that deal and all of that jazz. Nothing. Then they introduce, okay, Frostbite. Frostbite is going to be this thing that connects all of the games, and they can share all the tech, and, you know, everybody's running on the same code base, which, again, I always say this, but to me, that should have been how it was done from the beginning. And honestly, I don't even know this, Smitty, in chat. Maybe that's how the old EA Sports games were. Maybe back in the day, PS2 days, all of them did run kind of on the same platform, and then they just basically, you know, football was football and live was live, and I don't know. Maybe, because I don't recall us having complaints really like we have today with those older games, even though we were a lot younger. Obviously, our attention to detail grew as we got older. But to me, if you are a company, your whole conglomerate is EA Sports, and we make sports games, every single game should have the same baseline. And what I mean by that, for those who are not quite understanding what I'm talking about, FIFA, Madden, Live, NHL, let's throw UFC in there. Let's throw Fight Night in there if Fight Night came back. All of these games should have, well, let's just talk about the ones that we all know about as far as franchise modes. NHL, Live, Madden, and FIFA should all have the same exact franchise mode. I'm talking about features and options and general structure. The only thing that should be different is now we got to cater this to football, we got to cater this to soccer, we got to cater this to the NBA, and now we got to cater this to the NHL. But the baseline, contracts, contract restructuring, free agency, scouting, all of that should be the exact same system. You know why you would do that as a company? Not only does it make sense because it's easy to build all at one time, but the other reason why you would do it is the ease of use for your user. What if you want to introduce somebody to soccer? Well, you give them a game that plays, or not even just plays, but it's very similar to the football game that they've been playing. Or maybe they are a live fan, but when they go into franchise mode for FIFA, oh, this looks familiar. Oh, okay, but now this is kind of more like soccer, but this looks familiar. You see what I'm saying? And I mean, that's kind of the long way of getting to this point, but excuse me. To me, that's how it all should have been from day one. Maybe we'll see something like that going into this next generation. I don't know. It's hard for me to have expectations, but in my opinion, guys, the only hope for Madden to really be that game, they should be in the process of introducing brand new ways of doing things on PS5. I mean, you bring over, obviously, your base stuff, like stuff that, you know, you don't want to rebuild from scratch. But I'm talking about maybe I doubt this, but you've been working on doing these things, and then it'll be ready to go once, you know, the new console is ready. Because if not, man, we're going to be dealing with a lot of the same stuff. We're going to be dealing with a lot of the same stuff, and the platform is not going to matter. And, you know, if the devs don't give these guys time to either do it on the current generation, which this one is about to, you know, obviously you're introducing a new generation here soon. The devs are going to have to give, the suits are going to have to give the devs the time to go back and redo these things. Remember what I told you guys a few weeks ago? I have been told by certain devs for a fact that some things in Madden has to be built from the ground up in order to achieve some of the things that we asked for. And like I said, just for confidentiality and just the respect of those I talk to, you know, I keep a lot of things private because that's how it should be when they tell me something in private. So I won't go into detail and tell you what areas, but I think we all know that, though. I don't think, you know, this ain't rocket science. I see Matt Tennell is in here. You know, Matt has been doing sliders and all of that for years. He knows this. just with his studies. He knows that there's just certain limitations that the game has, regardless of what you're able to do with sliders and things of that nature. It's just going to be what it is. And that's the reason why you can get a guy like Sabo and others. And I said I would be short, right? And here I am just continuing to talk. But bear with me for just another moment. That's why you can get guys that are able to mod, that can change things, because they're physically changing things. And even with that, there's still certain code base that you cannot affect. You see what I'm saying? So it's some of these things, man, are just not going to, it's not going to be where we want it until they take the time to rebuild coding for certain things. That's just what it is. So I feel like me and Smitty both kind of went off of the initial point, but I think you guys have been able to follow our journey here with this conversation. And man, it's just, patches are great and all of that, but it definitely still feels like in certain aspects they are changing the game for the worst. In my opinion, I still feel like some things they're giving in just because people are complaining about it, and it's the meta and all of that stuff, and it's like, I don't know, man. I don't have a lot of hope for Madden. You know, I'm just gonna be honest. You know, I'll give my feedback, but it's gotten to the point, man, that to me, the feedback at this point is like I said in my most recent video. My feedback is always going to be the same, because until they change these specific areas, the game is going to be what it is. Until they're able to find a way to get rid of two-man animation and animation takeover. Until they're able to really get it to where players' relative position matters. How relative he is to the ball. How relative the defender is to the receiver. And being able to make a play. Things like that. Physics always impacting the outcome. Even if an animation triggers. Physics dictates the outcome. That's what needs to happen. You can have 1,000,000 animations in the library. I'm cool with that. Because again, some people seem to think that, you know, a lot of people will say they should get rid of animations, but they don't know what they're really saying. You can never get rid of animations. Every single game you play has animations. But what you're talking about is you want triggered animations, you know, things that are triggered from what's happening on the field, on the ice, on the hardwood, or what have you, rather than it being just a sequence that's going to play out because this special thing happened, the special dice roll combination happened, so now we're going to play this animation. That's what we don't want. What I'm talking about is you have all of these animations, and then the physical reaction or interaction between players is what dictates the animation you see. Until they can get it like that in every single aspect of the game, tackling right now is the furthest along, even though there's obviously still things you can work on. But I think if you play Madden extensively, all of us could pretty much agree we see that play out the most in tackling, but it's still not where it should be. But that needs to be in every single aspect. Catching, running, and I mean literally talking about running should be physics-based. Even the way the feet hit the ground. Now, I could be asking for too much here, but I'm serious, man. Until they're able to master being able to, you know, distribute power and momentum and weight and all of these things and leverage, until they're able to get those things to work, it's always going to be the same situation. Always. And like I said, it's a video game. I've gotten to the point now where I can play it and get enjoyment. Sam. Okay. I can play it and get enjoyment out of it for what it's worth. But, you know, me and Smitty, like I said, we've done this thing so long. And like I said, man, Sabo and Matt 10L and here, we've done this so long, we kind of know it's limitations that will always be there until, again, let me say these things again because Smitty stepped away, but I don't even have to say them because Smitty knows where I'm going. We always say this. Until the game gets to a point where physics dictates every single outcome, every single interaction, AI is able to be, it's able to happen on the fly. Meaning, let me describe this because I think Smitty does a great job describing it, and let me say it too so guys can say, okay, well, they both said it. What we're talking about is things like I've always said on this show. You call a cover 2 defense, right? And let's say a team runs trips. Let's say the defense doesn't necessarily shift. They're communicating. I'm talking about the real world. Watch your football teams this week, or even watch tonight and watch how they communicate. There's a lot of times where the corner, depending on the call, he might not go to the other side. They might do a check. He might stay on his side, even though there's nobody there. He might keep an eye on the running back because the running back could very well go into the flat to the opposite side, opposite the trips. But if nobody comes his way, now he starts looking for work. That's the easiest example I could give where everybody should be able to understand that. Those things don't happen in Madden. The only time you see any semblance of that is when you call a match concept. But in real football, it doesn't have to be. A match check doesn't have to be there for a player to do that. Now, let me say this. It's hard because I don't want every single DB doing that. I don't want every single DB having the wherewithal to know, oh, let me go cover this guy. I still want to see real mistakes based off of if a guy's good or if he's bad. I also want to see a so-so type of player make a play from time to time. It's possible. But what I don't want to see anymore is the stagnant, I've called this defense, they're going to play out that defense regardless. Even if anybody is on their side or not, safeties are going to drip. They're going to drop 20 yards back regardless. Like, that stuff has to go. It has to go, man. So they have to find a way to have real AI to where guys are, Smitty's favorite word, diagnosing the play. They're not just running the defense that I called them. That should be your first check. All right, we're in this defense. Let me get back. Oh, wait, nobody's coming my way. Let's do something else. I want to see that happen. And then player interaction, man. All of that needs to be one-to-one. The trenches, nothing in the trenches should be a canned scripted animation. It should all be fighting. That should be a mini game. Every single time you look in there, it should be a mini game happening with hand fighting and positioning and leverage and et cetera, et cetera. And like I always say, Smitty, it's not a lot. What we're saying is not like a big load of work. These things can be accomplished. But, until that happens, we're talking about the same Madden game, man. It will always be the same. It will always pretty much give you the same outcomes when the game is just strucken with two-man animations that you just see it happen and you go ahead and just put your controller down. Here they go. It's about to start. How about the one, Smitty? Here's the favorite one. How about the one when your receiver automatically knows that it's an interception and he turns into the defender and he turns his body and faces the receiver? Like, how does he know? You know what I mean? In the real world, that would never happen. You don't make that decision that quick. You try to go get the ball. And then at the last second, you turn into the defender, unless it's clearly overthrown. But I'm just tired of that, man, especially in man coverage, man. Like this year, this is the last thing I'm going to say. They made man coverage better, yes, but the biggest flaw in man coverage now is when the defender is able to undercut that route so fast, whips around, and gets underneath it before the receiver has any idea. It's bad, man. It's really bad.
Yeah.
But that's my little rant, man. Sorry for that little 10, 15-minute rant, but that's just it. You know, and like I said, it's a game, and we can still have fun. We're having fun in our league. It looks like I'm finally going to make the playoffs. But, you know, what about us guys like I do as well, Smitty does as well, the offline guys that like to just dive in and just rock out and have a great challenge against the computer where we can just jump on and play a game. We don't have to always rely on an online opponent because they might not be available. That part of the game is just not there no more, man. It's just, oh man, that's why I'm playing FIFA right now as we speak. And you know, FIFA is not perfect. I don't know soccer, but I'm having a good time with it because of the basic things I just laid out.
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts, man.
That's what it is. So, and I mean, I'm with Hollywood on the sliders, the depth of the sliders and everything. It's, you know, phenomenal in NHL.
Yes.
You know, but see, the thing, this is a key thing, like what Sim was getting at with the gameplay. That's the thing. The sliders don't mean anything if you don't have the gameplay functionality to boot first. So NHL has that. So those sliders and the depth of those sliders actually, you know, excuse me, they factor a lot into the game. And you can't say that about Madden because you saw, like I said, Madden, you'll see a receiver turn into a DB automatically. They don't even try to catch the ball. Like, first try to catch it. Oh, snap, I can't get it. Time to become defender and smack it away. You see what I mean? Like, we should see scenarios where players take multiple actions based upon what's going on in front of them. FIFA, you could be right there ready to score a goal. You kick it up against the defender, right? And they try to turn the tide. All of a sudden, they have, slight control over the ball. Then you instantaneously become a defender now, and you're able to go for the ball, you know, to try and knock the ball away from them. It's not like you're just going to be offense no matter what happens. You just got to deal with the consequence, and then you eventually take the defensive action later. No, it's like based upon the scenario of what's going on dynamically, you switch offense, defense, back to offense just like that. And my thing is, why don't we have that? Like, see, that's why I'm saying we need to see that stuff happening, and that's in FIFA and NHL. We need that stuff in Madden. And if Live does come back, we need it in there too. Like, that's it. I mean, that's essentially it. And see, the crazy part is you have games in your house. I mean, they're part of the EA wheelhouse. They're in your house that you can literally turn to and be like, yo, we need y'all help with this, that, and the third. Make it happen. Frostbite, they supposed to, you know, share tech and everything's supposed to flow one-to-one or whatever, or be able to do that. Okay, well then bet. Do it. I want to see it. I want to see this big deal happen. I want to see that I want to see these games have that kind of systematic flow where the games just up the ante like that. Okay, cool. Show us. That's it. You know, like that's what my take is on that though. You know, I'll throw back to Sim though, but that's where I'm at with it. Like if that's what y'all doing, okay, I want to see it.
Man, I'm gonna say something real quick that ain't got nothing to do with what we talking about. Just watching the game here. Why doesn't Julian Edelman get called for taunting more? This dude run his mouth all the time. He gets on my leg. Oh, fumble! Uh-oh. Don't stumble over your feet, defense. Get in the end zone. Did he get there? Touchdown. Wow. So, guys, just not watching the game. Tom Brady just got hit from behind, fumbled. Number 44, I believe, of the Giants defense scooped and scored. He might be maybe down at the half-yard line because it's close. But if not, we got a tie ball game here. But, yeah, why doesn't Edelman get called for... This dude always running his mouth. He's the type of dude, man, that, oh, boy, I wish I played with him. I don't care if he catch it. I would be like, let him catch it. I'm just waiting right there to knock his head off. They're always jumping up in somebody's face. And I don't know the dude personally, so I ain't gonna say he's a bad guy. I'm just talking about how he acts on the football field. He gets on my last nerve and don't never get flagged for it. Just now when he caught the ball, he gonna stand over the defender, woofing him down, and then when the dude get up, he's still talking. Why he ain't get no flag? They flag anybody else for that. But anyway, simple things, guys, what we're saying. I'll give you a perfect example. And again, don't take what I'm saying as the gospel on FIFA. I'm not a soccer guy. I don't know what's wrong in that game. When I play FIFA or when I play any game, any sports game that I'm not familiar with the sport, I'm looking for the things that I'm talking about in Madden. I'm looking for ball tangibility, physics, player interaction, animation, AI. That's all I'm looking at. As far as how it represents the sport, I could be completely off with soccer because I don't know the game. But let me tell you what just happened, and I want to see this happen in Madden. I had a situation, and I told Smitty, because I just recently got FIFA, and I just got a chance to play it today. Every time I play FIFA, right, I play with subpar teams. I don't want to play with the superstars and all that because I want to really see what the game has to offer. So I always play with MLS first. And I'm playing DC United against somebody. I'm using DC United. And I was sprinting with this guy. And I tried to turn drastically. And I lost the ball. Because my momentum, I couldn't stop fast enough. And I lost the ball because of the angle in which I tried to turn. You see what I'm saying? That's the simple stuff, man. That don't happen in Madden. Every now and then you'll see a little scripted, oh, let's let him fall, especially in the weather. We all see the scripted receiver falls. It's almost like you can anticipate he gonna fall right here on the end route. But it doesn't happen dynamically. That's what we're talking about. These things in FIFA happen dynamically, and if it is canned and scripted, they do a great job convincing us that it's not. Same thing NBA 2K has been able to do. How clean and smooth that game plays now. How they committed, beginning with 2K19, to reduce those two-man overrides and all of that. Right? They've done it. I can't say that it's completely done, or maybe they've just masked it in a way to where we can't tell. That would work for me too. If I was unable to tell that the two-man animation was happening in Madden, like thinking about those DB and wideout interactions. If we never saw feet slide, or we never saw, the defender's feet and the wide receiver's feet, here they both go into this interaction, and we know the two-man animation is starting, I would be fine. Because then I would say, wow, that was clean. That's all we're saying is either find a way to reduce, as I stutter there, I don't know why I got stuck on that but find a way to reduce the amount of times that it happens or eliminate it, and we're good. I'm not looking for perfection. I just want to believe what I'm seeing on the field and believe that is actually what's happening. It's not overridden by the difficulty setting or this guy's rating, the dice roll. None of that. And that example I just gave you in FIFA, phenomenal, man. And I told Smitty when we talked before the show, oh, this is different than 19. I could tell immediately, for you guys who've played FIFA, when you play kickoff and you go into your first match and they, while you're waiting for it to load up, it's got you doing that little dribbling tutorial. I could tell right then the momentum is way different than 19. Not saying that 19 was bad, but I was having a hard time keeping my guy within the circle. I was like, whoa. And I can guarantee you, if I play with somebody else, a upper echelon type of guy, his change of direction is probably a lot faster because he has that skill. And that's the thing, man. That's the thing we don't get from our football game. You know, football, they do pretty well, but football, we don't get it. I don't know, man. But like I said, Smitty, man, I think you was back when I said this part. It's almost at a point, man, where I'm just tired of the feedback. You know, for any of you guys who've watched my last 2 feedback videos, it was basically the same situation. And it's getting to that point. Madden is doing enough stuff on other fronts as far as gameplay. You know, as far as introducing the initial piece of these things to where now we've gotten to a point where it's like, well, if you got to address these things in order for any of this to matter. So our feedback is becoming the same feedback now. Most of everything we've asked for, they're implementing in terms of, in theory. You know, I still want to see better passing. They tried it with target passing. That didn't work. They're trying to open up the leading and stuff now, and I can feel a difference. But there's still a little room for growth there. But the DB and wide out stuff, the physics, all of that stuff we asked for over the years are there, but now it's just there. You got to now flush it out. You have to take it to the next level, and I don't think they're ever going to be able to do it until they untether these outcomes. That's, to me, is the first step, man. You got to untether those outcomes, and you got to get the AI to be more react based on what's happening instead of just always locking into their assignment. But I don't know, man.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not optimistic like I used to be because I think Smitty and I know too much. You know, it's like we know what it's going to take and we're not seeing those steps being taken. You know, it's going to take some serious recoding and things like that and rebuilding, but that takes time. And when things take time, those who are just wanting to sell the game ain't trying to hear that. No, that take too long. How are we going to sell that? And unfortunately, those are the philosophies, clearly the difference between EA Sports. Well, I'm going to just say EA Tiburon. That's the difference between EA Tiburon and a 2K Sports. We have 2 examples to prove that. Scott OG, Mike Wang.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mike Wang is, you know, it's funny because in layman's terms, what he really was saying was, yeah, you know, I was feeling myself a little bit, you know, thought I could get an opportunity at EA and leave 2K, do my own thing. I get over there and I'm like, okay, think I made a mistake. And he went back. And that's all you need to know. I mean, it don't really take Smitty and I to tell you guys that if you really pay attention, man, to what's happened over the years, Rex leaving, and they use the creative differences. Think about that for a moment. Even if you don't know the real. Creative differences with the creative director. What does that tell you? Clearly, whatever differences they had wasn't for the greater good. There's no way you gonna tell me. And you know, we always seem to get ourselves in trouble on this show, but I don't care, man. But I'm gonna say this: you're not gonna tell me that the people that are there running the show, their creative differences align better than what Rex would have wanted to do. You ain't telling me that. And Smitty knows what I'm saying. You are not telling me that. Whatever direction you were going in was better for the greater good of the game than what Rex would have wanted to do fully. No way, no how. So that's all you need to know, Madden guys, Madden fans. If devs have left that building and went to work for another company, and then a creative director leaves because of creative differences, Houston, we've got a problem. That's all. Let me shut up. But all we can do, man. Me and Smitty, we try to continue to do this thing for us, all of us. Hopefully one day the tide will change and we'll finally get that deserving game that we all so desire, man. Because if you like me, it's the last thing I would say, man. We probably could even wrap up after this if there's not anything else. If you're like me, I'm going to take you guys down memory lane for like 2 seconds here. Remember the time, whatever year it was, because it could be different for all of us. But do y'all remember the time when you played Madden, right? Madden just came out, cracked it open, put it into whatever console you had at the time. And you was like, man, I can't wait to see what they do next year if this game is like this. Y'all remember that? Mm-hmm. Think about that for a second. I know we all have a memory like that. Like, yo, man, I can't wait. Oh, I'm having I can't wait to see what they bring in next year. Because we knew each game was getting better and better and better. Madden 04 through Madden 08 PS2? What?
Yeah.
Bruh.
Every single year. Midnight release. You know what I'm saying?
Come on, man. And that's all I'm saying. Like, it's not like one thing that I can promise you that Smitty and I never lost, we never lost that, even being game changers or whatever you want to call it. We never lost the consumer side of, we remember that. Like, if you would have told me when I played Madden 08, I even say earlier than that, when I played Madden 05, Madden 06 on PS2, and you would have told me, man, what you think the game will look like in 2019? I would have been like, shoot, by that time, we probably just got controllers in that hand and we actually controlling the NFL players. The ones on TV. You know what I'm saying? I would have thought like, yo, I don't know how this game going to be then. What? Like, what else can they do?
Yeah.
And now we sitting here talking about things from then that they still have in the man, I'm getting depressed, man, just thinking about it. And that's why, listen, and I'm not taking no shot, but that's why I say, if y'all want me to be rah-rah and like how some of these other people are doing on YouTube, no, man. Why? I'm not even going to waste the energy doing that. I don't think it's even worth calling out. We all know all the problems. Like I said, hats off to guys like Kia. I don't even think I said what's up to Kia yet tonight, but he's here. He shows you what's up, and that's it. I mean, there's no need to keep pounding the same, the same thing every day, and there's no need. It's kind of like, just get it out there, remind people from time to time, and that's it. There's no need for any of us. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna have a heart and say any of us out there. There's no need for that energy no more, because clearly by now we know what EA and Madden is all about. And if you're making them kind of videos, you're just doing it, to appease your crowd, which is cool. But that's the answer. That's why y'all don't see many of those videos from me no more. I think at this point, feedback is the same, man. And until I see some differences in those areas of feedback, I ain't really got much more to say. But there it is, man. What else we got?
Yeah.
Anything else we need to cover?
We could touch base on the PS5. Like, what were some of those community requests? I know they talked about on Twitter from what they were saying earlier.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Hold on, let me check one other thing. I think I kind of went through PS5. I think you were here for that. I was just kind of saying, I'll say this real quick as I look through and see what any other topics. I'll say this about the PS5. It's a tough one for me because it's going to sound crazy, but I know y'all going to understand this. It really hinges on what Madden's going to be. And the reason why I say that is because that's what most of us really want to spend our time on is a football game. Because all these other games I'm having fun with on current generation.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying FIFA. I've enjoyed Battlefield, even though Battlefield has some bumps, but I still enjoy it. I still play it. Heck, I'm still, and let me show y'all how slow I've been because I've just been extremely busy. I'm still playing Red Dead.
Oh, I am too. I haven't completed that yet.
I ain't finished that, and I love it. I'm playing MLB. I don't have a problem with nothing else on this generation other than the football game. And that's the craziest thing. Let's be honest with ourselves. Most of us will buy that console in hopes of Madden being a better game because I think we're pretty satisfied with the games that we are playing right now. Now, of course, a lot of us, let's be honest, the word nerd has always been like a negative stigma, but we all are nerds for something. A bunch of us are graphics nerds or just technology nerds, so you're going to get the latest and greatest anyway. But for the most part, what game are you really sitting on your hands like you just can't wait for that's going to be on PS5? That you're not already enjoying right now? It's Madden. That's the one that we hope will be the better game. But I'm telling you, I'm not confident that it will be, Smitty. Because it's still the underlying problems with why Madden now isn't the greatest. Are those things going to be allowed to be addressed going into that console? That's going to make or break it for me in terms of Madden. So... But that was pretty much all. I don't see no other topic. Somebody wanted us to talk about maximum football, but
I don't have. Look, I know that they've done stuff, a title update or whatever, to address the secondary play, and I know that. Look, the gameplay is not enough. Okay,
it's just not.
So it's not enough. Like, I'm not going to purchase... Look, I may purchase it just out of support, but at the same time, it's like I don't want to support something just because. Like, if I'm not going to play it, I'm not just going to get it just because and just say, oh, but we want to make sure we fund them for another option. It's like, yeah, but...
I might just donate.
Right, yeah.
Like, whatever the game costs, here's a donation. Cause
yeah.
I am going to make a video, though, and I meant to do this, Smitty, but I am going to make a video on, this wasn't Maximum. This was from the good people over at Access on that trailer that they had. Not really a trailer, but remember the video they put out, and it was probably about an 18, 19-minute video just explaining, franchise. I'm definitely going to make a video on that when I get a chance. Pulling some of the things that I was like, see, this is what I'm talking about. Matter of fact, I'm going to say one right here. Do y'all know that, and maybe they had it last year, I don't know. Do you know that they not only have coordinators, but they have position coaches? If I'm not mistaken in that video, I think they said it's about 16 coaches per team.
Oh, wow.
Position coaches, people. I'm talking running backs, receivers, O-line, linebackers, secondary. What? And even though, like Smitty said, the gameplay is just not there on either one of those games, and I don't expect it to be. They're indie products. But that's what we're saying, man. Come on, Madden, because Smitty knows that this is definitely something we will hear from other people in the program. No names going to be called here, but other people will tell us these words. Well, I mean, it's easier for them to do that because it's not up to par in other places. Man, I don't want to hear that. Because as soon as people start hitting Smitty and I with that type of conversation, I say, okay, well, what about 2K?
Exactly.
Explain my league. Thank you. You can't do it. So the fact that these indie games are focusing that hard on franchise when their gameplay ain't even really on a level, obviously they're not AAA level. It's embarrassing, man. Come on, Madden. Y'all gotta stop playing with us.
Right. And see, I'll say this as far as PS5 is concerned. I mean, I agree with Sim because look, right now I'm with Sim in the regards of Madden, but we right now we have no clue as far as launch titles.
Yeah,
You see
that's
what I'm
true.
saying?
That's true. Yeah.
So who knows what may drop at launch to be like, oh, this is going to be the launch title. Oh, well, you know what? I'll pick this game up because they're going to have this. You know what I mean? Like, I'll definitely pick it up because they got this, that, and the third at launch. And the other thing too is we don't know the service offerings. Like, there's a lot we don't know. So I can't rule it completely out, but I will say 100% though that yes, like I definitely am looking to play sports games on it. I'm like I want to
Right.
get this game at launch, playing like playing Madden or playing NBA 2K. I want those games to be lit at launch. Like I want them to be like next gen. Like I don't want it to feel like they just did a port over and that's it. I want it to be a good game, So we have to wait and see what's going to happen with that. But yeah, like I said, once again, at this moment in time, I'm in the boat with Sim. I mean, there hasn't been a ton of things spoken of regarding the gen, other than just the control. They said it's going to be a pressure sensitive kind of control. So that way, depending upon the game you play, like for example, the triggers are going to feel different. So, like if you're playing a game like a Gran Turismo, it's going to be it's the pressure you put on it is going to be relative to a pedal.
Ooh.
Or if you're drawing back a bow and arrow, the pressure is going to be the same with that in comparison to shooting a gun like Call of Duty or whatever. So it's going to be more of a variable amount you have to press. It's not just going to be one. So I like that. That's if you're walking over terrain or whatever, you're going to feel it in the control accordingly. So it's not just going to be just a rumble and that's it. So they're trying to make it more immersive from a control standpoint, at least from what they've said so far. But other than that, it's like okay, like I know that. Excuse me. I know that we're not gonna really know anything until E3, basically, or if Sony, like what they usually do, they do their own presentation and show off what they're doing. But my guess would be E3 is when we're gonna really start hearing stuff, especially considering that you know those shows are gonna be big, like E3, Tokyo Game Show, PAX. I don't know if PAX is after E3 if I'm not mistaken. So like yeah, that's all of that's gonna be huge because then they're gonna be showing the games off. And I mean, hey, if they do show stuff off in June, then sweet. I want to see EA play. I definitely want to see some stuff shown off from them about regarding Madden and FIFA and everything else. But my only problem is I'm gonna have to take stuff with again a grain of salt for the most part because
Yep.
I'm sorry, but as we recall, Madden next gen trailer that was put out back then for this generation, and yeah, I have yet to see a version of Madden that even rivals that yet. So I cannot say that, I cannot sit up here and say like, oh, it's okay. I'm all on board with it as long as no, like they got to show something. Now, if they have something, no, well, I doubt they would, but if they had something playable at EA Play, oh, that would be bananas. That'd be flames. You know what I mean? But we'll like I said, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, could they? I believe they could because that's what happened with this generation. They had it wasn't completely playable, but I know that they did have some stuff that was on demo, like certain gameplay elements that were on demo. So you can mess with some elements of the game, but not all. Um, so yeah, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see, man. Yeah, but you made a great point there. We can't get gas by the trailer because
Ah,
that RG3 trailer. I know it was two of them, but that one when they showed him behind the line and he was scanning the field and pointing out protection and all, we have never seen
yeah,
that. And I
nope.
get it. I get people gonna say, "Oh, it's CG." Regardless, then shame on y'all for showing us something that could never be in the game, even if it's CG. Like that kind of stuff. Games should be doing that by now. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Because the level of detail that you see in FIFA, MLB, all of these games, 2K, come on. We should have been had that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, we
man.
should.
That's
So,
all we got, man. I know we were kind of doom and gloom today, but it's just we've gotten to that point, man. The frustration is just like, ah. And I think me and Smitty both have a combination of frustration and like, whatever. I mean, y'all let her prove it to me status now. And, I'm going to just do other things until y'all get it together.
yes, I mean, Madden's lagging behind. I mean, you don't have to take our word for it. Just play the games. What is Sim name off? MLB The Show is free to get this month if you're on PS4. Free
Wow.
download. I mean, so you got that. You got FIFA. You got PES. Shoot, NHL. I see a good number of people on Twitter that sit up here and say like, "Yo, NHL is the best game EA has this year." And I mean, look,
I ain't played it
I'll say
myself
this.
yet.
I'll say that I haven't played it yet either. But look at the presentation package that I see from gameplays, and it's so upset. It's EA's own presentation, their own thing. They didn't do the NBC thing, and it's their own EA Sports thing, and it's like it looks amazing. Why can't why can't they just do that with Madden? I mean, I swear, Sim, you would swear it's TV the way it is. You would swear on everything that's TV. And like how you see the overlays Thursday night football and Sunday and all that stuff, the overlays and how they show stuff and everything. It's there, man. So like I said, next gen, there's a lot. They leave a lot. They leave a lot to be desired on the table. And I mean the thing is, the devs know, so it's not like we gotta send them DMs and stuff like that and just bust them over the head with it 50,000 times. It's like we could let them know one good time and be like, look what's happening here. Look at this presentation package. What needs to happen in Madden to give us this? Like, no jokes. What needs to be done here? Because this is what we need. You know what I'm saying? And that's literally it. We need that, man.
Yeah,
Now,
2K, they kill it with their
yo,
overlays too.
2K, yeah, that same thing. 2K,
Nuts.
2K, MLB, like all these guys, FIFA and PES, everybody is ahead. Live and Madden are so far behind. What?
Yeah, man. It's
That's it.
it's what they want to do, man. Whoever runs it, it's Tiburon. I don't know what it is, man. And I know I've seen even somebody in here. Oh, yeah, it looks like Ron Ellis said it. I know people always want to say, Madden trying to push you towards MUT, but see,
No, it's yeah. Go ahead,
people are
Sim.
missing the point. Even if they were, that shouldn't matter. Because 2K, they make all of their money on VC and my team. But yet they still have this great product across the board. So, like, I don't care if they are trying to force you to MUT. The thing is, the gameplay still should be where it needs to be. Like, I've never understood that argument when people say, they only care about MUT. I get what y'all are trying to say, but if you really think about it, MUT gameplay has to be stellar in order for MUT to be a success, technically.
Yeah.
And MUT doesn't get as much attention as people actually think.
No.
It's pretty much been the same cycle over and over and over. They add a few things here and there, but it's not like they're breaking the mold every time they do something for MUT. So that ain't even the excuse no more. It just comes down to the fact that, man, there's things that just are not priority at the moment for whatever reason. That's what it really comes down to. So
and also understand, I know we got to get going, and also understand, guys, that franchise mode is more played. Franchise mode is more played than MUT. Like, historically speaking, or whatever. I don't know what the numbers are for Madden 19 or whatever. Like, I don't know specific percentages, but every time we've been down to the studio and they would talk about it, they're like, "Yo, metrics wise, people are playing franchise mode way more than MUT." So that's it. You know what I mean? But we'll just leave it at that. But yeah.
And yeah, no, NHL isn't on Frostbite.
Nope.
Figure.
I know, right?
So. But all right, guys, we're going to get up out of here. Anything you want to say really quick, Smitty, before we roll?
Just that, like always, guys, we appreciate y'all coming through, hanging out, spending time here with us. We always value, all of you guys being here. And yeah, man, this is always a fun time doing the show. Look forward to next week's show. If you guys have topics, please let me and Sim know on Twitter.
Yes.
Hit me up, Smitty D1981, and SimFBallCritic, that's his name, SimFBallCritic on Twitter. And send us topics. There's stuff you want to cover, or if there's some news that you see out there and you want us to touch base on or whatever, bring it to our attention so we could definitely talk about it.
Exactly. Definitely let us know, man, because like I said, it's hard to pull topics every week. So like I said, maybe we'll try something different where, we always discuss what we're going to talk about, but we might just have one root topic, and then it's just straight podcast format. We just talking. Whatever comes of it, comes of it. But all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get out of here, man. Hope everybody has a great week. Be safe, be blessed, and we'll catch you guys next week, and hope everybody's football team wins, except for the Chargers. All right, guys, catch y'all later. Peace.